Well, the show is based on the very popular book by Gombrich called The Story of Art. And what I did, I've never had proper academical education on the history of art. So one day I decided not to be ashamed of that anymore and to use it as kind of an advantage. And what I did, I read this book, and then I made one work for each chapter of this book. So what you have are 28 individual works for every chapter of the book, and they're in some way related to the topic of the individual chapter. Like, for example, the first chapter is about the prehistoric art of the primitive peoples, and here I'm painting a replica of a bison from the Altamira cave in one cave in Bulgaria. Then moving on, you have the Egyptian art, like this is one Anubis, and in the lower corner you can read "I don't like change," which is based on the Egyptian art which remained unchanged for thousands of years. Then this is about the early Greek period, and this is based on a quote from the book that says that the newly found freedom of the Greeks to represent the human form in any movement could be used to reflect the inner life of the figure represented. And so I just took this head of a Greek bronze sculpture and I put it on this air dance figure which just moves, but unfortunately the sound is pretty loud and it remains off. This is from the Upper Greek period. It's a Venus of Milo. I bought it from the women market in Sofia. And I painted it very amateurishly, like in the way it was supposed to be painted in ancient times. Next, this is for the Roman period. It's called a keystone, and it's this Roman arch, which has a book about Greek sculpture and architecture for a keystone. It's about Greek art and architecture, the keystone of this Roman arch. So this is a bit of a church room, and here we have the miracle of the loaves and the fishes. That's loosely based on one mosaic in Ravenna about the same theme. And here I'm doing a miracle. Next, this is a landscape after rain to be looked at in case of meditation only. So it's based on one Chinese silk drawing. And here these are some church motifs, like you have Saint Luke and then Saint Gerion. Next. Here this is based on a fresco by Giotto, The Morning of Christ, and here I'm dressed as the 10 morning angels in the fresco. And this is a studies of a monkey by Antonio Pisanello. So I focused myself on the monkeys behind. Next, here. This is the dome of Il Duomo di Firenze in 1:100 scale. So the width of the dome is exactly 1/100th of the width of the original dome in Florence. Here, on top of this beam, you have three, they're called harmony reenactments, and they're three ninja mutant turtles that are as three of the most famous paintings by Leonardo, Michelangelo, and Raphael. Here, this chapter is based on Venetian art, and it's the original title of the chapter is Light and Color, and the title of my work is Light and Color and a Fish Tank and a Mirror. And what you have is this fish tank and one projector that's lighted at it, and it makes a rainbow. Then this huge thing, unfortunately, I didn't have any chance to put it upstairs when it's supposed to be, so I just put it here on the beams. This here is an audio installation. It's about the characteristics of the art in Italy and in the north of the Alps in Northern Europe. And I asked two people from southern and northern Bulgaria to read these excerpts in their own dialect.
В този смисъл казуемо, че са и още средновековни художници. А па нейните колеги от там Алпите вече принадлежат към новото време.
Тия от северо през 15 век още се държали за готиката.
Here these are Dürer's bumper cards, which are cutouts from Dürer's facsimiles, and they're just like bumping into one another, or in this case just resting. Here the title of the chapter is A Crisis of Art, and it's about the Flemish art and about Bruegel in particular. And I asked my father, who is an artist from the 21st and the 20th century, how, if he received any inspiration from Bruegel, which is his favorite artist of all time, did he receive inspiration from him to overcome the 21st century financial crisis? Next, this one is called Picturesque, and it's based on the work of Claude Lorrain, and the dimensions of the work are approximate dimensions based on 10 of his most famous works. And what I did here, I read about this really absurd fortress, which they try to renovate with European money in this really awful manner. And I just made this really romantic composition alongside this absurd fortress. This is called a self-portrait of a 26-year-old me reenacting a self-portrait of a 26-year-old Rembrandt. And it's based on a self-portrait of Rembrandt, which he did when he was 26 years old. This one is called Cleopatra's Cocktail, and it's a pearl that's dissolving in vinegar. And it's based on one fresco by Tiepolo, in which it depicts this legend when Cleopatra had this very lavish feast with Mark Antony, and she told him that she could make the world's most expensive meal, and she took one of her pearl earrings and dissolved it in a glass of vinegar and then drank it. So this is her cocktail. This here is actually 3 chapters in one, and it's called 125 seconds out of many more. And 125 years was the time from the start of the construction of the Versailles Palace until the start of the French Revolution. So what I'm doing here, I'm dressed as a peasant, and I'm doing field work for roughly 125 seconds. And then I just get fed up with all of this, and I just storm out of the frame, and it reveals that I'm doing some kind of a Baroque-esque form. This here is a badly made kitschy replica of a famous impressionist's lily pond, and it's based on a painting by Claude Monet, Nymphaeas. Here is where it's supposed to be the huge dot. That's it's called Seurat's dot, and it's made up of hundreds and thousands of little dots that are taken from paintings by Seurat. And this here is called an eclectic drawing. And here I amateurishly blend the four most distinct art movements of the first half of the 20th century, like Expressionism, Cubism, Primitivism, and Surrealism. And then we come to the last chapter, which Gombrich wrote in the 80s. Originally the book was published in the 50s, so he wrote the last chapter in the 80s. Talking about what happened from the time the book was published until now in the 80s. And he talked about Marcel Duchamp and the things that he has done, and he tells that this became sort of a fashion, what Duchamp did, and he hopes that he didn't help develop this fashion when he opened his book with the words that there is no such thing as art with a capital letter. So this is called a concise end in a Sariev fashion, when Sariev is the nickname of Marcel Duchamp, and it's basically the whole exhibition in a slightly bigger version of the book. So basically this is a concise tour of the exhibition.